Hello, my name is Contover. This is a current buzz. We have Fred Webster from Milltown Plumbing, AC, and Electrical. Is that correct?
Plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical.
Plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Milltown, you've probably seen the little red trucks around town. They're out of Chelmsford, excuse me. I have a little cough, but you've probably seen the little red trucks running around town. That's Milltown, and we have the president of the company here. So we're going to talk about plumbing. We're going to talk about electric heat pumps, which I want to talk about. That's the new phenomena that people are talking about, and AC. Also, people in the summertime need AC, of course. And of course, when they don't have AC, they call you and complain, I don't have my AC.
100%.
100%. So tell me about AC in regards to seeing that we're coming up to the summer.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no
Dean.
problem.
We really appreciate it. Our cooling season has started. We had Hawaiian shirts on in the office about 3 weeks ago, and we had that first 80-degree day. So, we're excited to get out in the community and start helping folks. There's a lot of amazing things that are happening with heat pumps. When you hear heat pump, it's a little counterintuitive. It also does heating and air conditioning. There's amazing mass save rebates that are currently available, up to $10,000 for a lot of homeowners. There's 0% 7-year financing terms for projects that go up to $50,000. So there's a lot of folks that are looking at these mass save options and maybe changing over their conventional central heating and cooling systems to the newer, more efficient heat pump systems.
Efficient in what way?
Well, you're not burning fuel like you would with a standard heating system with a heat pump. And in the summertime, they'll work in reverse, and you can actually cool your home with these heat pumps. And they're more efficient than a traditional air conditioning, central air, air conditioning system that folks would have. And there's, your ducted versions, and there's also ductless versions that you can be put in somebody's home that doesn't have ductwork without major construction or interior home remodeling.
There was an article in the Boston Globe about heat pumps that said heat pumps pass a big test in New England. In other words, after we had that cold stretch, there was concern about heat pumps in New England. Did you have any repercussions? Any people call you having problems with them?
No, we are blessed with that. Heat pumps have been around since the 50s, but
is that right?
Yeah, but in this part of the country, over the past 10 years, we've really seen more folks starting to put them in. Initially, it started with people that more often than not had oil systems, and they would use these heat pumps in the shoulder seasons because they would work well until it was about 30 degrees. And then 5 or so years ago, you started to be able to get down to closer to 0. And then now there's some systems that can even go to -20. So the systems that we have put in that have replaced the fossil fuel systems have been in the past year or two, and those systems were capable of going down to -20. We had never replaced a complete heating system without leaving something supplemental in as prior to that, and we had great success through that huge cold spell that we had. Of course, your heating system's only as good as the rest of the weatherization in your home, and that's also
that's important. In the article dated Thursday, February 9th, 2023, the Boston Globe says insulation is important in regards to heat pumps.
Absolutely.
So can you pontificate on that a little bit?
In general,
Okay.
heating, cooling, regardless of whether it's heat pump or not. I mean, weatherization is a huge part of it. I mean, the old adage is it's not easy to heat a barn if it's drafty. And in a lot of older homes, there's things that can be done through these mass save programs where folks can go in and it'll start with this weatherization and then heating and cooling process, and then by the time they're done, they have both pieces of that puzzle put together, and that's where we see folks able to really, save on energy and save on efficiency.
Okay, I have, let's say I have a home, I want a heat pump. Do you take the square footage of the home and you decide what type of heat pump that I need.
That's a great question. Yep.
Yeah. So let's say it's 1,800 feet, 2,000 feet, square feet in regards to a home. You look at that, right, and you decide what type of pump you'll use. Okay. And so then you come in and quote me a price roughly at that, is it 20,000, 30,000? It all depends on the square footage.
Every home is different. Okay. Some homes have different loads than others, based on the amount of windows, based on,
what kind of windows too, right?
Correct. So it's almost inappropriate for me to say specifically, but
I don't want to nail you down,
each
Fred.
home you have we go out and a project manager will go through the home and they'll spend a couple of hours figuring out exactly what it's going to take to calculate the right load to make sure that what is installed is going to do the job.
So let's say my heat pump would cost me $20,000. This is just average, okay? Sure. What kind of rebates do I get? Is it almost 50% of that, or is it 100%?
It's up to $10,000, and the Mass Save program allows you to do the loan for 0% up to 7 years.
So you can get beyond that $10,000 rebate, you can get a loan.
Correct.
0% up to 7 years, and then what kicks in after that in regards to percentage? Do you know?
I think that the loan at that point is I think it's repaid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
They build it.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So now, I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're, I don't know how many feet. They're 6 feet, 5 feet.
Oh, for a heat pump?
Yeah.
They are a bit bigger than your conventional outside condenser. It depends on the size of the home. And some homes may have two. And some homes may have two standardized heating and cooling systems where you would have one for the second floor and you'd have a separate one for the first floor.
Good point.
And it also it depends on the amount of cooling and heating that's needed for the different homes as well.
They're outside. There's a fan, right? Is it noisy? I mean, should you put it out your kitchen window in regards to the heat pump, or?
I mean, if you're a light sleeper, we're going to want to make sure that we're not putting it next to your bedroom.
It makes sense.
They're quieter than the units in the past. That's for sure, though.
Okay, all right. So once it's set in, you could use your thermostat, right? The new thermostats. People should get a new thermostat in regards to digital.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of these systems will have a proprietary thermostat that works specifically with that's part of the whole overall.
Package.
Yeah, that's part of the whole overall system.
Okay.
And the connectivity is great too, because that's the sort of thing that you can likely adjust from your phone if you want to. I mean, you can really make it very simple and set it so that it takes into account the outside temperature and it'll adjust where it needs to be. Or you can have control of it if you want to turn it down a bit more before you know that you're coming home and there's a lot of folks coming to your house and maybe there's going to be a cookout and things and doors and windows open and whatnot. Okay. You can sort of prepare for that.
All right, let's talk it. It's called electric heat pump, right? What happens if electricity goes down?
Well, it's not going to run. You call us and we'll put a generator in for you.
That's the next thing I want to talk about. Generators. It's been popular of late to have a generator backup for your electrical system. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can have a whole home standby generator, which would essentially allow you to be able to run as if you were connected to regular grid power. Okay. There are portable standby generators that you run on, regular gasoline that you could maybe pull out of a garage and hook up and turn on yourself should you need to. Obviously, there's a pretty big price difference in between that.
Yeah, don't start it up in your garage.
Certainly not. No, you're going to want to make sure that thing's outside.
It's outside.
Yeah.
Make sure it's outside.
That's a real threat.
Yeah, that's a real threat. So, so the generator, I have gas coming into my house.
Yep.
So I'm okay, right?
Sure,
So
yeah.
let's say you would pour a slab down, right, or concrete, and of course it would be outside, not outside the bedroom. It would be
They're a lot louder than a heat pump or a standard, air conditioning condenser.
So
for
you'd
sure.
have it around the corner. Okay. So you set it up. So
I mean, a project like that, typically, it would get, our electricians would come in, and our plumbers would come in, and they'd, run some underground lines over to the generator, pour a slab, and then the electricians would come back and wire everything into your panel with the transfer switch, and obviously set it up so that depending upon the size of the generator, it ran the critical things in your house that were important, or it could be set up, if it was a larger generator, to run everything.
So let's say the larger generator, let's say I want to get a larger generator. You would come in, of course, again, you would look at the footage of the house and what's needed, and that's the power.
Yep.
And then you would tell me this generator would be. Now, I see an ad on television that is specifically one generator. Is that the only company, or are there many companies?
No, there's a few different folks that make good quality generators that are in the market, and we would typically give 3 or 4 different options that might range from that simple rollout style generator all the way up to something that would power everything in the home.
Yeah, because I mean, I was looking at your website, and there's a lot of things on your website regardless of what you guys do.
Yep.
It's not only plumbing; it's electrical.
Yeah.
It's sheet metal. It's all that stuff. So let's say I want a new furnace.
Sure.
Right. You guys come in, do an assessment. You tell me what I need. Rebates.
Yep, we process everything. We have a department. They'll walk you through this entire mass save process, regardless of what kind of heating or cooling system you're putting in, and make sure that we can get our customers the best options available.
Okay, let's say you have a heating in your home, a gas heat, and what's the shelf life of those heating systems?
Depends on the type of system, but 20 years is on average. Years ago, you'd see forced hot water boilers that would last longer than that. So a lot of us are programmed to think it's going to be 30 years. It seems like most things today, there's more components, and not everything is made with the same amount of metal that it's used to. So I would say that it's closer to 20 years for most systems today.
So if you have a system about 20 years old, you should consider calling someone, not specifically Fred, but call someone to look at your system, or at least get it looked at.
Yeah.
What do they call that when you seasonal?
Tune-up. Yeah, a tune-up, or a safety inspection. So for our customers, our plan members, we do safety inspections for them at least once a year, and we run that through multi-trade. But in the HVAC space, for heating and air conditioning, then that's the most important, because there's having a failure is obviously a huge concern. Or if there's a problem with it, you want to make sure that it's operating safely.
Would you suggest that people put on the heating system before it gets cold, and just to see if it's running okay, or AC to try it to see if it's running okay?
It's impossible for any one of us to keep up with the first wave of heating or cooling. I think we do a great job at it. We're geared to be a same-day, next-day service company. We have about 100 folks and 60 trucks on the road and in and around Chelmsford area every day. So our response is fast, whether it's plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical. But there's always those peak demand times where we have to go to we go to our existing customers before we go to anybody else, of course. But it doesn't matter. You could be 3 times as many folks, and it's going to be a couple of days out. So if you know ahead of time by checking it, if it doesn't turn on, then you don't wind up in that sort of a situation. So that's definitely a wise thing to do.
Right. And if you're going to get a new system, get it in the summertime, whether it's an electric heat pump or
I would say
furnace.
the spring and the fall is the best time if you're planning on getting a new system.
Yeah, because in summertime you're doing AC, right? So in the spring or the fall.
Spring and the fall are
You wanna
those
change your first.
shoulder seasons, and that's when you see a lot of installation work that's done. Of course, we do installation work year-round, but for the folks that are proactive, we always see them doing it that time of year. And it allows the availability to go out and serve other customers that have failures, so we try to plan it that way when we can.
Yeah, good. All right, you said that you have 100 people and 60 trucks.
Yep.
They're all running. Who does your maintenance on your trucks? I mean,
There's a lot of truck. There's our fleet manager takes great care in making sure that we can plan the things out as best that we can and get.
I mean, you have to change the oil. You have to change the tires. I mean, there's a lot of.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
I mean, we do 200 to 300 jobs a week.
Wow.
So between service calls and installs, depending upon the time of the year, and we average probably close to 15,000 plus jobs a year. So there's a lot of movement, anyways. So logistics is and dispatching is like the name of the game at our shop.
Okay, so let's talk about dispatch. You have people there 24/7?
We do.
Or, okay, so I call up Milltown Plumbing, AC and electrical. I'm trying to get it all in there.
Sure.
And so what happens? There's a woman or a male in front of a computer, and they're taking my phone call and asking me what the problem is.
100%. Yep.
And I tell them, I need my furnace. It died on me. It's the middle of winter. It's 10 degrees out.
Well, the call comes in, and one of the amazing folks in our call center takes that call. We found out exactly what the customer needs, and then we route that call to the department, to our dispatch teams, depending upon what trade is required, whether it's plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical. And then at that point, all the trucks are GPS monitored, so we can see where the teams are. Spread out inside of our service area, and then we route the next available truck to the calls. And that board, we always have a very busy call board. That thing's alive, and it's changing constantly. It's like chess in there.
So then you would tell me that you come out at a certain time, right?
We do. If you have a first appointment, we can tell you what time we're going to get there. And we, like anybody, giving an exact appointment during the middle of a day is not something that I'm really comfortable doing, because I could be going to your home and I may think that a project is going to take an hour, and once I start working on it, it could turn into 3.
2 or 3.
Right? So even giving a 2-hour window can be a concern. I'd rather tell a customer, hey, yes, we're coming out today. We're going to get there. We think it's going to be close to this time, but I'm not going to hold you hostage in your home. I can give you an hour call ahead, do what you need to do, and that way I don't give you a time that where I don't meet the expectation that I've already set with the customer. That's our goal, and we do that all day, every day.
With the AC also?
Every trade, because unless it's the first call of the day, I know I can get to your home at 8 o'clock for my first call. But even if I was going to do a routine maintenance call in your home, and I notice that there's an issue, you may say, Fred, can you please fix this for me right now? I don't want to take another day off from work. And I may have told another customer that we would be there in an hour, and if that takes me an hour and a half or 2 hours, I don't want to let that customer down. So we give a window, but we don't want to give a window where people are sitting there waiting and frustrated, like, hey, we'll tell you, do what you need to do. How much lead time do you need?
Right.
And we'll call you ahead of time, and we keep more folks than necessary in our dispatch center so they can constantly make those updated calls. And, they do a great job at it. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. We're all late every now and again, but we try to mitigate that risk by running it that way.
Especially the type of job that you have. I mean, the first would be priority. If somebody wants their shower taken care of, that would be secondary.
Life safety, property damage is going to take precedent,
that's
of course.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. What do you charge the initial, I hate to
Yeah.
ask you that
It's
question.
a great question.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
What do you charge initially when you go out from the first call?
We have an $85 dispatch fee to send out
Which is understandable.
a technician, regardless of whether it's plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical, in a truck to diagnose what's going on. Once that technician gets to the home, he assesses whatever work you may need done, and gives a couple of options to do that work for you. If you do the work, the $85 is waived. If you do not do the work, and then we charge $85 for coming out to provide that service. If it's an estimate for a new heating or a cooling system or some other type of project, then a project manager would go out, and there's not a dispatch.
Oh,
for that.
good point.
That's a different thing, because
Yeah.
we're not sending out a technician in a truck stocked that is set up to do work for folks.
When you talk about stock, what do you mean by that in regards to a truck?
Oh, I mean,
Every piece that you can think of in regards to that truck.
there's no such thing as this magical truck that has every single part on the planet, especially in today's day and age where there's a lot of proprietary parts. Even in our warehouse, which probably has 5,000 SKUs, we don't have every single part. And then even in some supply houses that we have several right here in Chelmsford, they sometimes don't have every single part. So we have lots of material on our trucks that can get things started or get things done, or that are, because we want to do work when we're there, but it's impossible to have everything all the time. But they are fully stocked, warehouse is fully stocked. We have a lot of folks that are running parts out to jobs all day, delivering to technicians in the field so they can stay working on the jobs. So again, there's a lot of logistics involved with parts.
I should talk to you because I can't find a part that that I have in my home, and I'll talk to you after the show.
Sure.
But I'm thinking of this part that I've gone to the different plumbing supply houses.
Yep.
They don't have the part because it's like 25 years old, and that's the problem. But it's not a major.
It can be, there's a lot of stuff out there.
That's a problem in regards to
be.
what do you know what to put in a truck, what not to put in, because every system, every a boiler, every heat pump is different. Different companies have different parts.
I will tell you that each and every year it gets a little bit more challenging with things are more proprietary. Years ago, there was a lot of controls that you would work on multiple systems,
Right.
and manufacturers aren't always designing those the same way they did in the past. And with plumbing parts especially, we're able to repair things, when I think back when I was younger.
So do you like copper or do you like plastic?
It depends on the application. I mean, some jobs, we want it to be PEX because we do a lot of retrofit work, we do a lot of service, and if we can make a less invasive repipe in somebody's home, then we want to make sure that we can give folks that option. If it's out in the open, I would prefer that it's done in hard pipe because I just, like the way that it looks better.
If I build my house, I would have.
I don't want to see spaghetti when.
I want to have a hard pipe if I build my house.
Yeah, and you can still do hard pipe with plastic.
Oh, with plastic, yeah. No, that's understandable. Okay. Is there anything you want to say, Fred? I mean, in regards, I only have about a minute to go. Is there anything that you want to customers?
If we're here to support our community, and if you need us, we're here to help you, and that's probably the most important thing for us to say. And we've been grateful that we've had the support of the community, and we've been able to grow quite a bit over the past 10 years. And
you're expanding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
You're going to
we are.
expand.
Yep, and we have.
Stedman Street.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to build new warehouse, you hope?
We will be. Yep. It's we're getting to the point where unless we can find a bigger location, we will definitely. We'll have to.
Bigger location in Chelmsford, is that?
I would like to stay in Chelmsford for a myriad of reasons.
All right.
But if I could find something that was done, then I would, or close to it.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.